Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is HAVOC update number 6, I think. Now, I came up with a really interesting, hopefully original dice mechanic for this game. It has been going through some changes regarding how actions are taken. I've done roll under, I've done something similar to Savage rules where you have a die type per each core. It used to be a D20 game. So here's what I did. Let's, besides a few, changes in the wording and the design, here's basically the 5 cores. This is what I mainly want to focus on. The character sheet has a slight update. Havoc logo is up here now. Same 5 cores. The hitbox is wider. HP, energy, defense. Energy I fixed up a bit, which in my last video I mentioned on the comments. I clarified that I did notice one glaring issue, and I believe I resolved it. There's the pouch. So, very simple rules like game. That's the idea of this, with some, customization. You still have the 5 cores. You still start with a die type, D4, typically in all 5. You are given the opportunity to improve one with the D6 and one with the D8. Now, that seems normal. That seems like it was before. But besides changing hitbox to hits, if we scroll down just a bit, again, some of the stuff has changed, but nothing really worth mentioning. What matters is the mechanic and conflict. So here's what I thought up. Instead of rolling the die type at a difficulty number, etc., you take the relative core, you roll it. Now, look at this section here. This is as simple as it comes, but still leaves room for error. If you're rolling a d4, you have to roll half or greater within that die. For example, d4, 2 through 4, d6, 3 through 6, d8, 4 through 8, d10, 5 through 10, d12, 6 through 12. So even if you improve your core, there is still room for error. But the success window grows just a bit each time. So you have to roll at the halfway point or higher within that core die type to be successful. Now, beyond this, I was thinking, how do I imply a modifier? It could be a positive or negative. No. I just combined the modifier with the advantage, disadvantage type of system. If the action is easy, as it says here, you roll 2 or more dice and you choose the highest roll. That's it, while still considering the halfway point or more. If the action is hard, you roll 2 or more, but you choose the lowest roll. So if it's very hard, it's 3 dice. If it's very easy, 3 dice. That's it. I was on my way to work today and I was thinking, I want to make my dice system unique. I don't want to be inspired too heavily off something else. Even though the Havoc, the dice being used in the abilities or the cores is some familiar territory with Savage Worlds. That is the only real inspiration here. The actions taking action, changed it from Havoc, is what I'm trying to make distinct here in my game. And I hope this sticks. I'm going to play test it in my next video. I'm going to be doing a simple one-shot dungeon crawl using AI to populate each room, and we'll be using my game, Havoc, which is called Havoc System. It's gone from the Havoc RPG to just Havoc. Now it's just the Havoc System because it's becoming its own little thing. Now, I hope you guys like this. I believe it's simple, and there's still this window for either success or failure, depending on what and how many dice you use. Next is conflict. Conflict changed just ever so slightly, and I will get to spells here in a second. Besides the description of each of these, as you can see, these are shorter. Taking action is one sentence. Taking conflict is two. When your character encounters a hostile threat, then a conflict ensues. Conflict is turn-based and all hits land. Again, keeping this game easy. There is no miss or hit. If you roll at or above an AC, all hits land. Again, this is inspired by Karen. This simplifies combat. Your character typically acts first, unless they're ambushed. All attacks hit. There's no misses. There are no misses. Roll your weapon die. All this stuff is about the same. Melee weapons within 0 feet, just for clarification. Range weapons general greater distances. But here's what's slightly changed. Spells. Spells cast, the cost of it is how many turns it remains in effect. So I was thinking, well, if the player character casts a spell, if it's just a simple defense spell, a shield, or some kind of environmental spell, an AoE spell, or if it's an actual physical offense spell like a missile, how long, mainly for spells that have some kind of environmental effect, like a fog, or some spikes or tentacles pop out of the floor, how long does that spell remain in effect? It remains in effect for the amount of energy it requires. So if it's 2 energy, it's 2 turns. That's how I simplified it. Let's scroll down here. Spellcasting. This is how much I've simplified my spells. Spells are almost always bound to a enchanted scroll or book. That's again another inspiration from Karen. I love using the Karen magic system. It's just simple. It's a physical item the character holds and casts it. They don't memorize it. They don't have to prepare it. They don't have to get exhausted from it. It's just the cost of it and the rarity. So anyone can summon a spell, but doing so requires sufficient energy. So energy is the only real blockade you have in for casting spells. So anyone can cast it. You don't have to have higher than like in Airwork where you have to have more than a certain amount of POW to cast anything at all. This one, anyone picks up the book or scroll and can cast it. Common spells, however, don't require any roll. They can just be cast. Common spell, for example, maybe a slight mirage or to unlock a door. Simple, really everyday occurrences, everyday spells. But experienced or higher spells requires a successful craft roll. What kind of craft roll? Similar to taking action. That's it. You roll your craft roll, the same method, half or higher within the die, success. Below, failure. Energy is spent, that's it. You lose that spell. Now, let me clarify something here really quick. There, just a slight clarification. I found a plot hole. When a spell is cast, the scroll or book disintegrates, even on failed craft rolls. So if you find a otherworldly spell book that turns the entire room into ice or a rare spell book, freezes everybody but you or your allies, you roll for it, but you fail. Remember, there's still always that window for failing. The book is spent, you lose your energy, the spell, that's it. It doesn't cast. The book will disintegrate and it's end of days for that book. That's it. Now recovering energy, slight modification. Depending on the cost of spell, it would drain the amount of energy from your character. After a long rest, your energy is restored equal to the highest possible roll of your craft. That's it. Because again, as I'm saying it in this game, as I'm trying to make the magic system plausible for a fantasy and manageable and coherent, simple. Energy can only be recovered if your character takes a long, nice beauty rest. That's it. You can't take a short rest and recover one or two. You need to recover after a full bedtime sleep. That's it. So that's really what I've considered worth updating you guys about, besides advancement, which you can one up any core die. If you do craft, it improves and recovers the energy. I've decided to stick with that. Um, that's it, because there's really nothing else to advance besides the level count and a 1d6 to HP. So again, that's the character sheet. This is, I'm just very happy that this is turning out this is making great progress. It's been through so many different renditions, and I feel like I'm not the only one who. Obviously, I'm not the only one making their own game. There are so many YouTubers who play D&D, have been playing longer than me for ages, and they've been inspired to make their own systems. Hell, Critical Role make their own game. Daggerheart, I think it's called. I gotta look that up. I don't remember. But yeah. For example, another prominent YouTuber, uh, RPG player, Trevor Duvall from Me, Myself, and Die. He's making his own game, Broken Empires. Highly recommend checking out the Patreon. I think it's coming out this year. But anyways, any YouTuber who is in the D&D space who has 100,000 plus subscribers or are big names, they have made their own game. Deathbringer, for example, Professor DM. Um, Dungeon Craft, I think his channel's called. So yeah, everybody to some extent wants to or has made their own game, released it for a cost or full production, like Me, Myself, and Die from Broken Empires. Mine is my goal is to make it for myself and then release it to you guys for free on itch, no cost, just to make it, let it get sent out there like it's my, like if I had a kid, an 18-year-old graduating from high school and going out into the world and let it be judged for how they are as a game, that's my idea here. So, you know, I'm still working on the game, still working on the kinks. I want to play test it thoroughly for you guys on camera. That way you guys can give me feedback and be like, change this and change that. Because I will see that you guys would reply or comment in these update videos. Not often, but I'm assuming you guys would and have done in the past in my previous games, which are not Havoc related, or definitely Chronicles before that. But ever since I got into playing D&D and playing RPGs, I wanted to make my own systems. I love all the games I have, but they're just too many. My mind gets clouded with RPGs and which one should I play today, tomorrow? I want to be able to use my own system every so often and make it simple and let it be an avenue of all the experiences I've had with the other games, to get inspired by taking it, basically get inspired and have it all be in this one simple game while still having some mechanics in it, not just be too simple, but let it have some area to grow and house rule. But yeah, this is Havoc, and again, it's really turning out. I think that the character sheet, in my opinion, is not professionally designed, but it looks fine. It really do. And the rules, like I'm trying to have the text be from the player's perspective. My problem in the past with these descriptions were that I felt like it was talking about yourself, like you are the character. So I kept saying like you would die, etc., like that. So I changed it to where I'm trying to say that it's your character, and they and them, trying to using it from the perspective of the player reading the book or the rules, and not referencing the actual player, but the player character, distinguishing that. That was my one problem I had for a while in the description. Now I feel like I've covered every avenue and every line with the perspective of it being the player reading it, and that it's instructing everything that applies to the player character. Hope it does. Again, I'm not the best at this is my first, well, not my first time writing a simple one page or a rules like game, but it's not something I'm good at per se or have experience in. I'm hoping it does well once I release it to you guys. So still want to play test it. That's really it. I just wanted to show you guys this big update with this new dice mechanic that I have. I know I've done previous videos where I have my own dice mechanic and I completely forgot about it or dropped the ball, but I wanted to do this one because I feel like it's unique and I feel like it can work, and I hope it does during the playtest. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.